Hello, my name is Jane Walker. I work in the NHS and I'm also an Iyengar Yoga teacher. And I'm here today for us to share some yoga together. So welcome to those of you who were perhaps with me last time, and also welcome to those who are joining me for the first time. It's going to be very much the same sort of format as last time. So I will be on my practice area over there, and I will be showing poses, doing poses with you, and I'll also be giving you some instructions. So it would be lovely if you were able to listen and follow those instructions, but more importantly, I'm very sorry I can't see you, I can't interact with you. It's quite a strange format for teaching yoga, although a very effective one. I would like you to listen to yourselves. So if I am saying something to you that doesn't feel right, please be kind to yourself. Please don't do it. You do what feels right for you. So let's start. We usually start in a seated position. So I have got some setups here. If I just sit flat on the ground, quite often my knees will be up and I will be rolling back, and it's very difficult to feel lifted and open in this position. So we would generally, if we're going to sit on the floor, sit on a raise. So I've got two yoga foam blocks, or there's a yoga brick, or a cushion, or a folded blanket. However, equally good is a chair. And if you don't have a nice floor or feel comfortable on the floor, and that comfort is the first thing, please sit up. And same as sitting on the floor, we can have a very relaxed posture in a chair. And again, we want to move away from that. So this bony part of the back, the sacral iliac region, needs to move in. And then the abdomen joins it, and then you can lift up your pelvis and lift up your trunk. So I'll suggest this position if you're sitting on a chair. If you're sitting on the floor, sit on whatever you have, and whatever position, generally a nice comfortable cross-leg position is good. But same thing as sitting on a chair. Don't allow the back to roll back. Take in that sacral iliac region. Allow the tummy to join it. And then as much as the legs release down, and you see when I'm sitting up, my knees are the same level as my hips. My legs release down, and then my pelvis can draw up. And then I draw my trunk up. So even lift of the right and left side bodies, even lift of the front and the back bodies. So we sit straight and we sit tall. But don't allow in your enthusiasm to lift your shoulders to lift up and to crowd the neck. The skin of the top shoulders, the muscle of the top shoulders releases down and away from the neck. And you can encourage that movement if you think of the back of the arm and maybe a little weight on that pointy bit of the elbow, drawing the elbows down. So as the elbows draw down, the shoulder blades move down and into the back ribs, and the breastbone lifts up. So we have this lovely lift through our trunk, and that continues through the neck and the head. So there's a nice big space as you move the skin of the top shoulders down between the top of the shoulders and the ears. And the head just sits nicely balanced on the top of the spine. So the back part of your head, the occiput, is in line with the tailbone. It's not tipped back or tipped forward. So it's in line with the tailbone and the jaw is horizontal. So there's a lovely lift, a steadiness in the trunk, and then the poise of the head on the top of the spine. And then maintaining this lovely sensation and quietness, steadiness, poise in the body, joining your hands and bringing the thumbs to the base of the breastbone, the sternum, and then let your attention draw in. And with that, allow the eyes to close. And then just enjoy the space, the time, to sit quietly in a comfortable seated pose. Let all the busyness of your day just disappear from around you. Be in this moment as we allow ourselves to prepare for our practice. Equally, don't allow things that are going to happen later today to impose on this time and space for just now. So just your attention drawn in, you can feel the easy, even inhalation and exhalations. And just enjoy that quietness, that steadiness in the body, the mind, and the breath. And then after the next inhalation, allow the chest to lift, the chin to come down towards the chest, where we can pay any respect or express any gratitude for our ability to be sitting here now on our time for sharing together. And then releasing the hands down to the thighs, lifting up the head and opening the eyes. Good. So carefully come up from the floor or your chair and move everything off your mat. So don't have anything there that you can potentially trip over. And come to stand. Now I say mat. It's wonderful if you have got a mat. That's ideal for practice. But not everybody will have or be in the right place to have their mat. What you need, though, is nothing on your feet. I know floors can be chilly, but socks are very slippy. And equally, if you're on slippy carpet, you have to really beware. Try and be on a wooden floor or a floor that your feet will be steady on, or obviously, ideally, some sort of exercise mat. So wherever you are, and having decided that you're going to be safe and not slip, let's look at our feet. And we can have our knees gently bent. And we're going to look at Tadasana, mountain pose. So we join the inner heels, the mounds of the big toe and the big toes, and try to spread the toes so you can see a little bit of the floor between them. Doesn't always work, we've all got different shapes of feet, but we are trying to create a nice big space of making our feet big on the floor, spreading the flesh of the soles of the feet. And then from there, if you can, join the inner knees or bring them towards each other and then draw up those front thighs, really make those legs straight. So make the knees firm. Now the feet are pressing down, we spread the soles of the feet, make sure they press all four corners evenly, so you're not rolling into your toes or back into your heels. And these legs are firm with the knees firm, front thighs lifting up, and then continue that lift, lifting up the frontal hip bones, lifting up that breastbone, the front chest, and then releasing that skin of the top shoulders down as we did before, and also releasing those long buttock muscles away from the waist. And then remember, we talked about having a little weight on our elbows. So that little weight is there, drawing those elbows down and extend from the elbows to the fingers. And as you do that, feel that chest popping up. So you are that magnificent, steady mountain, Tadasana, mountain pose. And this is how we come back to this pose in between our other standing poses. So enjoy, feel that lift. Feel that firmness in the legs, that firmness in the elbows, and feel how your chest benefits, drawing it up, nice and broad and open. And then from there, keeping that lift, we're going to really lengthen, widen. So now we're a mountain range. So we broaden across the front collarbones, extend to those fingertips, still the knees are firm, still the elbows are firm, and we are tall and our chest is open. And indeed we can spread our back waist, our back ribs too, so our back body is broad. And then from there, turning the palms of the hands so the palms face the ceiling, lifting that little finger up more than the thumb side, and then as though your fingers had 5 crayons on them, draw a big rainbow, a big arc on the ceiling to bring the arms up to Urdhva Hastasana, upward arms. Now I've paused here. If your elbows start to bend, stop wherever your elbows start to bend. If you can bring up the arms to vertical, great. And now that little pull on the elbows is drawing them up to the ceiling. So reach up to the ceiling. Still working those legs, and just feel now a tremendous length from the outer feet to the tips of the fingers. And then bringing the arms down. And this is one of the things I was saying to you. If I'm holding these poses too long, just bring the arms down. Just come back to a quiet Tadasana. Don't do anything that is tiring or exhausting. Just here we are. We recover. We stand in our Tadasana, mountain pose. And then we will do another exercise with our arms. So we bring the arms forward. We're going to interlink the fingers right up to their roots. And then invert the hands. And we can do this together. So you can now see if the elbows are straight. Remind those legs to be straight, drawing up the front thighs, lifting up the front hip bones. Make sure that skin hasn't crept up around the neck. Release it so the back of the neck is nice and long. And then allowing your arms to float up to the ceiling. Keeping those elbows straight. Pressing the palms up to the ceiling. Again, create that lovely, tremendous length and height through the trunk, through the body. And then again, just exhaling, releasing those arms slowly, quietly down. Just look at your fingers. One index finger will be on top. So swap and put the other index finger. Often feels unusual, crossing hands or legs the different way. And again, extending those palms, making those elbows firm, evenly pressing weight into the feet, drawing up the kneecaps, skin of the top shoulders away from the neck, and allow those arms to float up towards the ceiling again, pressing the palms to the ceiling, drawing the trunk up, quiet muscles around the neck, head still with that lovely sense of poise, and then allowing the arms gradually to release down again. And Tadasana. Standing at all points, I should say, normal breath. You don't need to hold your breath. Just allow normal, easy, even unconsidered breath throughout. And from Tadasana, I'm going to show you the first sideways standing pose that we're going to do, which is Uttanasana Hasta Tadasana. So I will show you, and then we'll do it together. Okay, so you can either jump or step. So I've just stepped, and I'm going to do a big turn of what will be your right leg so that the whole of the leg faces the side, and then again you draw up those front thighs, and keeping those legs firm. There's going to be a tendency for your abdomen, you want to turn on to the future, which is this front leg. So you draw the abdomen back to face the back leg, and then we extend the arms as we did when we were in Tadasana. And if your neck is comfortable, you turn to look along the front arm. Then we take our arms down and jump or step back to Tadasana. So let's do Utthita Hasta Tadasana together. Jumping or stepping your own feet 3.5 or 3.5 feet apart. Okay? And then take your hands to your hips. So the left toes, turn them a little bit in. come up onto the heel of the right leg and turn the leg. So the whole of the thigh, the femur bone in its ball and socket joint, turn it so the foot, the shin, the knee, the thigh face the side wall. Then you're up on your heels still and draw up those front thighs, grip in the outer hips, and then without losing any of that height, allow that right toes to go to the floor. And then here we are, we're in Tadasana in the trunk. Still that lovely lift, that release down of the skin of the top shoulders. And then be broad, spread those arms, spread the collarbone, release those elbows away from you. And then, if your neck is comfortable, still keeping the back of the head in line with the tailbone, just gently look over that front arm. Firm elbows, firm knees, lifted open chest. And then turning back to the front, taking the hands down, turn the feet to face forward and just rest, release, no breath in the center. And then of course we've done to the right, we will now do to the left. So the right toes turn a little bit in, and then big full turn of that left thigh bone in the pelvis. Up on the heel, draw up those front thighs, get that grip in the outer hips, and then without losing any height, replace the toes of the left foot on the floor, and lift up the chest. Going to allow it to turn to face that front leg, so keep it facing, if I could see you, straight at the camera, and then extend those arms. Broad front chest, broad back ribs, firm elbows, firm knees, and then again, if you did before, you can turn to look over that left arm and left fingertips. Feel as though you can reach one hand into one room and one hand into the other room. And then bringing your head back, replace the hands, feet face forward, and then jumping or stepping back to Tadasana. Tadasana, mountain pose. A lovely evenness, a lift, and a breath and opening of the chest. So that sideways turning is the basis of many of our standing sideways lateral extension poses. So the first one of those we're going to do is Uttanasana. Utthita is extended, Trikonasana, triangle pose. So I will show you how we're going to do it, and then we'll do it together. So the first bit you will recognize. And then from here, like we did when we took our arms up, we're going to take one arm up. And we're going to reach and reach. So there's a tremendous length all the way through that side body. And then the temptation will be for the trunk to go and look at the floor. But don't let that happen. You know that we're turning away from the front. We're keeping our chest looking forward. And we lengthen, 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 lengthen till we've gone as far as we can. And then this is Trikonasana. And I think my body is meant to make some triangles, hence the name. And then from there, we'll come up and go to the other side. So let's do it together. Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. So jumping or stepping 3.5 feet apart, taking the hands onto your hips, turning the left toes in. Remember that huge, big turn of that right foot, and then right feet, both feet on the floor, drawing up, gripping in those outer thighs, turn the abdomen so it faces front, extend up the right hand, reach for the ceiling. How long can you be on that right side? And then you're going to reach over your right leg. Can you reach into the next room? How far can you lengthen your trunk? And when you have gone as far as you can, just take the hand to the thigh, the shin, and roll those lower ribs forward and that top shoulder blade back. So you're looking directly forward where chest is. Just keep your neck nicely in line with the rest of your spine, and firm knees still, and this tremendous lift and opening of the chest. And then from there, come up, turn the feet, pause, allow the breath to settle. Then we'll go to the other side. So right toes a little in, full turn of that left foot, draw up those front thighs, get that grip in the outer hips, that turn in the waist away from the front leg. Hastasana, upward lifted arm on the left. So big length through that left side, and then extend the trunk over that left leg, reaching into the next room as far as you can, and then the hand goes to the shin, the thigh, wherever it reaches, and look forward. So turn away from that left front groin and show off the t-shirt, the front of your t-shirt to the camera. Good. Keep the head easy and in line with the spine, and then pressing into the feet, coming up, turning, and back to Tadasana. And this is where we do learn to recover in Tadasana. So I made a few points in Uttanasana. I'll show it you now done classically, and we'll just flow into it. So I'll show, and then we'll do together. So this is me showing you. And we lengthen, that's the pose we did first, and then we extend over that leg, and one hand reaches the floor, the other to the ceiling. Now, if this is tiring, just pop that hand back down onto the hip. But if you're here, that's fine, and then we come up, and we go to the other side. So let's do Utthita Trikonasana, done classically, done together, with all the thoughts from the first time. So, Tadasana, jumping or stepping your feet 3.5 feet apart, and take the hands down, turn the left toes a little in, full turn of those right toes, gather in those legs, really firm legs, lift and open the chest, extend broad across the front chest, and then reach, lengthen over that front leg, hand coming to where it's comfortable on the leg, one hand going, reaching down towards the floor, the other up to the ceiling, still showing that front chest towards the camera, and just being in Utthita Trikonasana for another breath. And then from there, coming up, take the hands down, turning the feet, pause, and then we go to the other side. So turning those right toes in, full turn of that left leg, think of that ball and socket joint turning so the whole of the leg faces the wall to your left. Draw up the thighs, grip in the outer hips, turn the chest to abdomen so it faces forward, broaden across the front chest, and then release your side trunk over that front leg. Again, you can take the top arm down if you would like, but spread across the chest, lengthen the bottom muscles away from the waist in the direction of the back heel, so the back is nice and long, head in line with the spine. And then pressing into the feet, coming up from there, hands down, turn the feet, and then jumping or stepping, I'll step back, Tadasana. Again, enjoy Tadasana, the quietness, the steadiness of mountain pose, letting the breath settle. So I will show you the next pose that we are going to do, which is Virabhadrasana 2. It's warrior pose 2, and it is quite an energetic pose. So do carefully, do mindfully, thinking to yourself when I go into it. Don't go too energetically. But I'll show you how we're going to work on it in the first instance. So, as previously, jumping or stepping, I'll just show first of all, turning the legs as we've been doing. Now, this is a bending leg, so we're going to use the breath and softly with the breath, release that front leg down. So I'm just coming up, releasing, up and releasing, all the way until I come to what is a maximum for me. So be mindful of the front thighs, the front groins, don't strain. What will go wrong is the knee will come forward and it needs to stay back, and possibly you'll overestimate or underestimate the ability you have to go down, and your front knee will go over your ankle. So what I'm going to ask is, the front knee is in line with the ankle, and the shin is vertical. And we'll be here, and then we'll go to the other side. Okay? So, together, Tadasana. Jumping or stepping a little wider than Trikonasana, 3.5, 4 feet. Turning the left toes in, full turn of that right leg again. That's the key to this pose. If you don't do the full turn, your knee will definitely head off forward and your bottom backwards. So, from here, using the breath, you can breathe in and then release down with the exhalations. I am saying use the breath now. So, breathing in, exhale, and then breathing in, exhale. And in your own time, using your breath, softly let go and spread that inner thigh. Release it down. So you're sitting down. And then just look at this leg. Has it made a right angle? Is the inner thigh parallel to the front edge of the mat? Or is the knee forward? Gently release the knee back. Have you gone over the front ankle or not gone far enough? Is your shin vertical? So you can have a little look at that. And just get this feeling, this samskara action in your mind. And then come up from there. Turn the feet. And we'll repeat on the other side. So the right toes a little in. Full turn of those left toes. Remember, turning from the root to give us that ability to keep the knee back. And then using the breath. Breathing in, exhaling. Breathing in, exhaling. Using the breath just to gently ease and soften. Big muscles to actually soften the spread, so don't be too enthusiastic or harsh on yourself. Just let them release. They do release, but it'll take time. Good. But resting that inner knee back is the shin vertical to make this lovely right angle of our pose, warrior pose 2. And then from there, coming up, turn the feet, Tadasana. So that was Virabhadrasana 2, warrior pose 2, thinking about the front leg. Well, there's the other half of the body to think about. So let me show you again, and then we'll repeat it. So, now, you know what you're going to do with the front leg. We've done that. We've got that action in our mind. But the back leg. The back leg is the guide rope of so many of our poses. So we need to feel the outer edge of that foot down, draw up that front thigh, make that angle, and then the trunk is in Tadasana. As I said, it tends to head off to the front leg, and we lose all sort of, I don't know, grip or sensibility of the pose. So making that back leg firm, drawing up, making it active, and here I am in Tadasana, and then I will just sit down. All I've done is soften and spread as we did, and then still I'm not just heading onto this front leg, so I'm going to take that arm and draw myself back, and then again, this is that turn of the arms and head we did right back at the beginning. Virabhadrasana 2. Okay, so let's be in Tadasana, and we will do Virabhadrasana 2 to the right together. So remembering a little wider, and actually giving yourself space makes these poses easier. It's not natural to stand with our legs wide, so it takes us a while to say, okay, I can take my legs wide. But just see, don't go too wide, but clearly perhaps wider than you might expect. So, jumping or stepping again, 3.5, 4 feet apart, turning the left toes in, full turn, big turn of the root of that leg. So the whole of the leg is facing on to the right. Now, focus on the back leg. That's where we're going to start. Feel the outer edge of that little toe side of the foot down to your mat. Draw up the front, the outer thigh. Make that angle. So you don't have lost the angle. Make that angle. And here we are, the trunk can be in Tadasana, as though we were in mountain pose, but with our legs wide. And then you know what you did, you soften, spread, you sat down, keeping that knee back, making that front shin vertical, and then just in case you've headed over the front leg, you draw yourself to the back leg with your back arm, and then place the front arm. Shoulders away from the neck again, back of the neck broad, and you can look forward if that's better for you, comfortable. Or again, if you have an ease in the neck, you can look over the front arm. It's a beautiful geometric pose with parallels, verticals, right angles. And then come up. As I say, it's quite energetic, so don't hold it. If I'm holding you too long, just come out of it. So we are back centrally, and we will repeat the pose now to the left. So right toe slightly in, big turn, full turn of that left leg. Focus on the back leg, feel the outer side of the right foot to the floor, draw up the thigh, make that grip in the outer hip. You can actually even put your hand there to make that angle. And then soften as much as there is grip, soften, spread, release down that left leg. Sit down with the buttock bones, down with the buttock bones, up with the trunk. Extend the back arm back, and then the front arm. And just enjoy the lovely geometry of this pose. And if you wish, you can turn your head to complete to look over the front arm. So the firm elbows, firm back leg, Tadasana in the front, quiet, released muscles around the back neck. And then again, you can come up, hands down, turning the feet, jumping and stepping back to Tadasana. And just be again in Tadasana. Does your Tadasana now feel differently from the Tadasana before our first Tadasana, our first mountain pose? Is there an ease to it? Can you use it to recover and be quieted, allowing the breath again to settle? After our exertions of warrior pose 2 and energetic pose as the name suggests. So, although I say we do recover and use Tadasana to recover, we have other poses that we use as a restorative quietening pose. One of them is Uttanasana, which is an intense stretch of the front body. But we're going to do Ardha Uttanasana, half Uttanasana. And for this, perhaps ideally a wall, but a chair or a table or a sofa is absolutely fine. So I'll show you first how to do it with the wall, and then I'll show you with a chair. So Uttanasana, I'm going to suggest you have your feet at least hip distance apart. And it can be nice to do quite a wide pose, wide as your mat, to give you the release forward. So we're not doing your feet together, hip width or wider apart. So you won't see that when I'm standing sideways, sorry. So I'm still working those legs as though I was in Tadasana, but I'll take my hands up the wall and I'm looking between my hands. And I'm going to start walking back, watching that space between my hands, which is moving down the wall. And what I'm aiming to do, and it's difficult to judge, I grant you, is to have vertical legs and a horizontal trunk. And then when I've got there, working my legs and lengthening my trunk, I just allow my head to rest. And this becomes a quietening, releasing pose. And then you can walk forward, come up. Now, if you don't have a wall, you can have a chair, any sort of chair, table, bed, sofa. You start with your hands, which hopefully is going to be about waist distance height, or the height of your legs. And then simply, feet apart, you walk yourself back, looking between your hands, and then again, straight legs, horizontal trunk, and you can just let your head be quiet, releasing. So, choose what works best for you in your space. I maybe go to the wall, and let's do Uttanasana or the Uttanasana together. So, begin wherever if you're facing a chair, you're facing a wall, drawing up those front thighs. I haven't mentioned directionality for toes. We don't work in Iyengar Yoga with our toes facing out the way. If anything, they slightly face in because that gives us breadth across our lumbar spine or buttocks. So as you face the wall, face the chair, make sure your toes, if anything, face slightly in, certainly not out. And then you can place your hands up the wall, hands shoulder distance apart, feet at least hip distance apart, toes slightly in, and then looking between your hands, whether on the wall or the back of your chair or table, slowly walking your feet away so you can best judge that your legs are vertical and your trunk has the space to lengthen and be horizontal. And then looking forward, allow the back ribs to spread, the shoulder blades to move to the front body, and then just releasing the head down, allow the head to be quiet. Kneecaps drawing up, front long, but supported by the wall or the chair, head wide. Now I'm very sympathetic in this pose. When I first started learning it, it really didn't feel as though I could be quiet and release in it. My big thigh muscles were saying ouch and various things. So if there is a tightness anywhere in your body, use your exhalations to breathe into that area and allow it to soften. And believe me, with practice, all these things do soften and spread. But do try, even if areas of your body are making themselves known, to allow the head to be releasing down and to be quiet. And allow the breath to settle again back to its normal, quiet state. And then after the next couple of breath cycles, we can start to walk forward to our chair or wall to come back up to standing. Okay, so having done some standing poses, we'll now move to some seated poses. And I'm going to show you again a couple of options. As when we began with a cross-legged seated pose, if we just sit on the floor, there's a fine chance, unless we have the release of these big buttock muscles, thigh muscles, that it will be difficult to sit straight. So we will have this like backwards trajectory. So again, as I said before, the various bits and pieces, folded blankets, yoga or whatever, any grip, foam pads, you can sit up on. And that allows that movement of the back pelvis, the sacroiliac region, from dropping back, gives us the ability to start to take it in, and then the pelvis to lift up. And if you don't wish to sit on the floor, you can equally do this pose, Tadasana, on a chair. So legs straight and same actions in the pelvis, sacroiliac region in. And when I'm going to suggest you have a belt, if you've got a belt. If you don't have a belt, it doesn't matter. You can place it round the feet and do what we do when I move down to sit on the floor. So we're going to look at Dandasana. Dandasana is the Tadasana, mountain pose of the seated poses. So Dandasana is staff pose. So I'm going to sit down. If you happen to have a belt, a tie, anything available, that's great. It can help us. But if not, you can imagine. So we are sitting, raised ideally, chair, the floor, and what sometimes happens is the big toes head back towards us for some reason and the little toe away. So no, you press your big toe away. And then if you do have some belt handy, that's when you can use the belt to press the big toe into the belt. And of course, our legs need to be firm, so those kneecaps need to be firm, the front thighs drawing up. So we can use the belt to pull on the belt and make those legs work really hard and really straight. If you don't have a belt, just be sitting, either holding on the side of the chair or your fingertips reaching if you get them to the floor, and just think of pressing those big toes into the belt, drawing up the front kneecaps. If you do have a belt, you can use it to think about the back body or keep your hands on the floor. So I've already said to move in that sacroiliac region so you can start to lift up. And the other region, as well as moving that in, whether you're on the chair or the floor, is the dorsal spine and shoulder blades. Very typical, we spend our life like this. So this region needs to move in too. If you have a belt, you can pull on the belt and draw those shoulder blades in. If you don't have a belt, similarly, draw those shoulder blades in. So I had a teacher once say, embrace the front body with your shoulder blades. So bring them in and then feel that lift of the sternum. Now, in our enthusiasm to do that sometimes, and I'm very prone to doing this, I let the front ribs and the abdomen all swing out forward. It shouldn't do that. The abdomen needs to embrace the back spine. So the abdomen stays back, and it's the sternum that lifts up with the shoulder blades moving forward. So if you are a lumbar person, beware of going in too far there, and we lift up. So you can, if you were holding the belt and using it to do that, drawing up the shoulder blades up to the arm, we can all now sit with our hands to the floor, drawing up, and in fact, let's increase the height further. So the legs moving down and the arms extending up. Tadasana again. But don't let the skin of the top shoulders run in there, release it down. So it's an ease. Legs are going down, arms are coming up. And then bring your arms down and just sit. And again, at the beginning, I found this pose such a hard pose, even though we were meant to be able to sit in it, and conventionally it was so easy. But there's a lot of hard work sitting, making your shape. So just be gentle, release if it's tightening up. And then do release. So we'll go back to cross leg, swastikasana. You can sit on a height, and if you're on the chair, you don't need to cross your legs. I will just ask you now, from having had your legs straight, to be, as we were, like this. And we're going to do a twist. So we're going to breathe in and turn. If you're on the chair, I'll show you what we're going to do if we're on the floor. So we're going to be sitting comfortably in the cross leg. We're going to breathe in, and then we're going to turn. So one hand goes to the knee, and the other goes behind you on the floor or on your raises. Okay? So whether you're sitting on the chair or whether you're on your raises, just sit in a nice comfortable cross leg position now, and then breathe in and lift up your chest, and then turn the abdomen, turn the chest. Turn to face your right side. So your left hand just gently presses on your right knee, and your right hand goes behind you. And just enjoy. You have to ask each and every intervertebral joint to do these little bits of turn. Not one turns a great deal, but if you action from the very base of the spine all the way up, you can get a lovely turn and a twist in the spine, and a rinsing and wringing action in the body. And then come back, recenter, we'll go to the other side, breathe in, exhale, turning. So we use the inhalations to lift up and the exhalations to ask that turn, moving soft tissues of our abdomen first, bringing the turn all the way up through our chest, asking each and every one of our intervertebral joints from the base of the spine to the top to do a little bit of turn. So you can be gently pulling your right hand on your left knee, drawing the right side forward and releasing the left shoulder blade, spreading that left collarbone, releasing that left shoulder back. So you're facing to your left. And then coming back to center, sitting in Swastikasana. And then just changing the cross of your leg. You don't need to change the cross of the leg if you're sitting on the chair. And then this time, with a little bit of extra speed, not quite so slowly, breathing in, extending the arms, turning to face the right. So different cross leg might feel unusual, but it's good for the hips to change the cross of the legs, or the leg in first. And then coming back, and then breathing in again, extending the arm broad across the chest, turning now to the left side, lengthening that sternum up, spine up, turning, using the breath, inhaling, lengthening, exhaling, turning. Just allowing the neck to turn to wherever it's comfortable. We don't want to ask it to do anything too extreme. Just allowing it to follow the rest of the spine. And then coming back forward. And gently coming back to Tadasana, straightening those legs, lengthening the trunk up, as we do with our other poses, Tadasana, coming back to Tadasana. And then our final pose before Shavasana is another pose that we think of as having a restorative element. It's Supta Baddha. If you have a cushion or a blanket, you might want to use this for your head. It's lying down. If you don't, absolutely fine to have the head on the floor. But I'll just show you what we're going to do. So Supta Baddha is bound angle pose, and I join the soles of my feet together, and I've got this spread. It's like Virabhadrasana too, actually. But I join the soles of my feet together, and then I move my buttocks towards my feet. And again, just move them as much as is comfortably right for you. And then I lie my spine down. And this is when it might be nice, if you've got a cushion or a blanket, to have it and bring it down to your shoulders, so the back of the neck and the back of the head is supported. The back of the neck is nice and long. And then we can just lie here for a minute or two, our hands on our abdomen, and lengthen the buttock muscles towards the heels, so the abdomen does become soft and becomes released towards the spine. So an action that we've wanted to do when we've been in our standing poses, that move from sitting poses of the abdomen towards the spine, not up towards the ceiling. We'll be here for a while, and then we can take our hands to Shavasana. And I should have said, if you've got space, make be wide. We can take our hands out to shoulder width, and then taking the hands folded over the head. We'll see how we go. Okay. And then you roll onto your side to come up. Oh, well, actually won't. I'll maybe just take you to Shavasana. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so starting with some space out to the side in the center of your mat, and joining the soles of your feet. And you can move your bottom towards your heels, but don't do anything too dramatic. If your bottom is comfortable here, that's fine. But just move it towards your feet in as much as your legs, your thighs are comfortable. And then carefully lower your spine down onto the floor. If you're using a pillow for the head, cushion, blanket, foam pad, you can, not as comfy. Just draw it towards your shoulders so the whole of your back of the neck, in fact, you can lengthen the back of the neck, the back of the head is comfortable. And then before you settle completely, just gently think about moving those long buttock muscles away from the waist in the direction of the heels, and feel how the abdomen settles down. And you can have your hands on it, ask the abdomen to be soft and spreading. And then you can take the hands in Shavasana, which is where they are beside you, palms facing the ceiling. And now just appreciate the breath. There's a spread from the inner groins to the inner knees. So we're not actually asking our knees to release down, just that spread, as we have in Virabhadrasana too, that soft spread of those inner thighs. We can feel the spread of our back ribs and back waist on the floor. And we can feel the length of our spine, nice and even, supported by the floor. The back of our neck is long, our head is supported. And there's a lovely quietness as we lie here. Breath is easy and even. And then we'll just take our hands, you can leave them in Shavasana if that feels comfortable, or you can take them out to the side and feel the spread of the back body mirrored across the front, the spread of the collarbones away, the shoulder blades away from the sternum, the collarbones away from the sternum, and the backs of the hands, arms supported on the floor. And just enjoy the restorative element of this pose, supported on the floor, quietly and evenly spreading, softening. And I think probably from here, what would be nice would be to move to Shavasana. So either you can look, if you're uncertain, Shavasana is forked toes, or if you want to just follow my words, you can do that. So after our legs have been out, it can be nice to use your hands on the outer thighs to lift the outer thighs so the feet are on the floor, knees bent. And it's good when we go into Shavasana to start in this position. Our hands again are slightly away from our trunk, facing the ceiling. You can keep that pillow or have your head on the floor, whatever seems right. And then you strongly stretch one leg out to be straight, and then the other leg out to be straight. So you're in Supta Tadasana, but then you just let go. Allow the big toe to roll to the middle toe side. And in this pose, our eyes are closed. So we lie in Supta Tadasana, in Shavasana, forked toes. We all finish our class in what is really the ultimate restorative pose, rest, Shavasana. So just releasing yourselves now into Shavasana, where the work is to do no work. We've been asking our muscles, joints to do a lot of work. Now just let all those muscles soften, spread, release. Allow our big thigh muscles to let go of the muscles of our limbs, our legs, our arms, all those around the pelvis, the muscles around the shoulder girdle, just to let go. So the physical body spreads from the inside out. And the work, we don't do any work in this pose. The work is done by gravity. We surrender ourselves to the earth. There's also a deep quietness in our senses. They draw in. So our eyes release back in their sockets. Our ears draw back to join them. There's a quiet spaciousness in the mouth, the throat. The breath gently moves to and fro in an unconsidered manner. And our thoughts quieten too. They draw in. So they remain centered in Shavasana. And if a thought of something else passes by, comes towards you, let it go as though it were a cloud floating on. Just remain focused, observing, enjoying your Shavasana. After different classes, different practices, it may be different. Just be accepting of how it feels for you today and just releasing into it and let go. The front brain moves to the back brain. The brain is heavy on the back of the skull. And there's a dissolving and letting go. And then quietly spending the last couple of moments in your own Shavasana. And you are in your own space, so there isn't any pressure for you to return out of Shavasana. But 1 o'clock is approaching, and if you need to be somewhere else, moving on, perhaps start coming out now, returning in your own time. So first of all, popping one hand and then the other onto your tummy. Bending up your knees so your feet are flat on the floor. And then again, in your own time, when you are ready, rolling onto your right side, supporting your head with your right hand, spending a few moments lying with your knees bent on your right side. And then to come up, you come up facing the floor, pushing up with your left hand. And then we come to that comfortable seated pose, whatever worked for you to begin with, and just sit quietly and joining our hands in the beginning as we return from Shavasana. But as I say, if you're staying in, that's fine. But for me, that is the end of the class for today. Thank you so much for sharing and practicing with me. Thank you.